Welcome to Turkish TV series. Today's video is for those who never settle for a superficial story, for those who need a series to take them all the way to the bottom of the bonds that hurt the most and matter the most, family. Because if there is one thing Turkish television does better than anyone else, it is putting on screen the weight of blood ties, love that crushes, betrayals within the home, and a loyalty that sometimes costs everything. Before we get started, if you enjoy what you see, take a second to leave your like and subscribe to the channel because that helps us keep bringing you this content. Thank you for your support. Number 10, A Mother's Sin. It all starts with a question this series dares to ask without flinching. How far can a mother go to save her child? A Mother's Sin arrived in 2020 with Özge Özberk in the role of Suna, a woman who works in a small fish shop to support her 3 children on her own without anyone's help. Her eldest son, Yusuf, a law student, suffers a heart attack and needs an operation the family cannot afford. In a twist nobody saw coming, the owner of the company where Suna has her savings, Sadri, makes her a completely dark proposal. If she kills him, his family will receive the insurance money. And Suna accepts. What follows is the portrait of a woman who has to carry the weight of that crime while trying to keep her family from falling apart. Özberk's performance is solid, and the moral dilemma the series raises is genuinely disturbing. That said, 5 episodes is very few for a story that deserved more time and more layers. The script resolves things too quickly, and there are secondary characters who are left half-developed, but as a concentrated family drama without filler, it delivers on what it promises. Number 9. Mother. Pay close attention because this production has something very few series manage. Mother arrived in 2016 as an adaptation of the Japanese series Mother, and from the very first episode, it puts you in a situation you cannot escape. Zeynep is a temporary teacher who arrives at a school in Bandırma and discovers that her 7-year-old student Melik is being abused by her own mother and her partner. When nobody does anything about it, Zeynep makes a decision that will change both their lives forever. She fakes the girl's death, kidnaps her, and they flee together to Istanbul trying to build the bond that neither of them had in their childhood. Young Baron Gökçe Yıldız as Melik gives a performance that paralyzes one of the most impactful scenes on Turkish screens in recent years. Cansu Dere as Zeynep supports her with an interpretation full of nuance. To be honest, from episode 25 onward, the plot begins to lose the force of its first half, and some twists feel forced. But the bond between these 2 women who choose each other as family without blood connecting them is one of the most beautiful the genre has produced. Number 8. Bitterland. Imagine this. A couple in love flees Istanbul in the 1970s with a false identity, arrives in the fertile lands of Çukurova in Adana, and finds themselves trapped in the power dynamics of the Yaman family. Züleyha and Yılmaz present themselves as siblings to protect themselves, but when Demir Yaman, the powerful heir of the estate, falls in love with Züleyha without knowing she has a partner, the fate of all 3 becomes entangled in ways that take 141 episodes to unravel. The production is visually stunning. The 1970s are recreated with a level of costume and set design care very few Turkish series have matched. Hilal Altınbelek as Züleyha and Vahide Person as Hunkar, the family matriarch, are 2 performances you do not easily forget. That said, 4 seasons and 141 episodes is a volume that not all viewers can sustain, and there are stretches, especially in the 3rd season, where the pace drops noticeably. In Spain, it was an audience phenomenon and won the Best Foreign Series award at the Produ Awards. For those who make it through the journey, the ending is worth it. Number 7. Sila. This is the production that many people remember with a mixture of fascination and something like frustration, and there are reasons for both feelings. Sila arrived in 26 with Cansu Dere in the role of a young woman raised in Istanbul by a wealthy, adoptive family who knows nothing about her true origins. One day, her biological father appears in her life and takes her under false pretenses to Mardin, a city in southeastern Turkey, where she is forced to marry Boran Aga to save her brother's life. Sila goes from a modern and free life to being trapped in a world governed by tribal traditions she neither understands nor accepts. What makes this series great is that it does not romanticize that reality. It shows it with its real consequences. Mehmet Akif Alikurt as Boran is a character of extraordinary complexity, capable of being simultaneously the aggressor and the protector. The landscapes of Mardin add a unique visual dimension. The fair critique. Some stretches of the second season stretch unnecessarily, and there are subplots that dilute the main conflict. But as a portrait of the clash between modernity and tradition within a family, this series has no equal. Number 6. Woman. Very few Turkish series have managed something so simple and so difficult at the same time, making you love a family that does not exist. Woman arrived in 2017 with Özge Özpirinçci as Bahar, a young widow with 2 small children, Nisan and Doruk, who tries to survive every day on what she earns as an ironing worker. Bahar was abandoned by her mother at 8 years old, lost her grandparents, and then lost her husband. And yet she smiles. And her children laugh. That ability to turn precariousness into play and absence into joy is what makes Bahar one of the most beloved female characters Turkish screens have produced in recent years. When her mother Hatice returns to her life after 2 decades, the secrets of that reunion reveal layers the series handles with uncommon maturity. It won the Best Actress Award at the Golden Butterfly and also recognition as Best Foreign Drama at the Tokyo Drama Awards. The honest critique. The 3rd season loses the direction the first 2 had built with such solidity. But what comes before that is television worth remembering. Number 5. Ezel. There is no fair way to place Ezel in any position lower than 5. This production arrived in 2009 and built something Turkish television had not attempted with that ambition before, an adaptation of The Count of Monte Cristo deeply rooted in the bonds of loyalty, betrayal, and working-class family in Istanbul. Omer is a humble mechanic who blindly trusts his 2 best friends and the woman he loves. That trust takes him straight to prison, accused of a crime he did not commit. Years later, unrecognizable after plastic surgery and transformed into the enigmatic Ezel Bayraktar, he returns to collect on every betrayal with a calculated coldness that makes it impossible to look away from the screen. Kenan İmirzalıoğlu as Ezel gives one of the most hypnotic performances in the history of Turkish television. The cinematography, the music, and the non-linear narrative of the first episodes are in a category of their own. It must be acknowledged that the second season introduces a broader conflict that does not always maintain the tension level of the first, and the ending is ambiguous in ways that divided audiences. But at its highest point, Ezel is world-class television. It was adapted in over 10 countries. Number 4. Endless Love. There is a reason this series won the International Emmy in 2017 and was the first Turkish production ever to do so. Endless Love arrived in 2015 with the story of Kemal and Nihan, 2 young people from opposite worlds who are bound together from the first instant by something neither of them knows how to handle. But Nihan's family environment has its own designs. Her sick mother, her fragile brother, and above all, Amir Koskoğlu, a businessman who manipulates her, using the darkest secret of the Sezen family as a weapon of blackmail. What distinguishes this production from others in the genre is the emotional density of every family relationship surrounding the leads. It is not just the story of an impossible love. It is the story of several families destroying themselves in real time. Burak Özçivit as Kemal is one of the most beloved characters in the history of the genre. The honest critique, some stretches of the second season feel excessive, and the story goes in circles that are frustrating. I paused it myself several times, but nearly 4 million people watched the finale. That number is not up for debate. Number 3. Koozie Gooni. It all starts with a traffic accident and a decision that changes everything. Koozie Gooni arrived in 2011 with Kıvanç Tatlıtuğ and Buğra Gülsoy as 2 brothers who could not be more different. Gooni is the responsible son, the one who studies, the one who never causes problems. Koozie is the rebel, the impulsive one, the one who always gets the family into trouble. The night before Gooni's university entrance exam, both end up in a car that hits someone. Gooni was at the wheel. Koozie takes the blame and goes to prison for 4 years. When he comes out, the world he left no longer exists. His brother has the woman he loved, his family looks at him differently, and prison transformed him in ways nobody expected. What follows is the most honest exploration of the weight of the bond between brothers that Turkish television has produced. Tatlıtuğ's performance as Koozie is one of the peaks of his career, and the Tekinoglu family as a dramatic unit has a depth very few series achieve. The valid critique. Some episodes in the second, third stretch situations that had already given everything they could. It was adapted in Mexico under the title Asignatura Pendiente. That speaks for itself in terms of its reach. Number 2. What is Fatmagil's fault? This production did something none of the others on this list managed. Change real conversations in Turkish society. What is Fatmagil's fault? Arrived in 2010 and tackled something very few series in any country had dared to do with that depth and that honesty. A portrait of sexual assault, its devastating consequences on the victim, and the families that try to cover it up. Fatmagil is a humble girl from a coastal village whose life is destroyed by the violence of 4 men from wealthy families. To protect the guilty, they pressure her into marrying Karim, the only one present who did not participate. What begins as a sentence for both of them transforms slowly, episode by episode, into a story of resistance and dignity. Baron Saat gives the performance of her life, and Engin Akurik builds in Karim, one of the most complex male characters the genre has produced. What must be acknowledged? 80 episodes is a lot, and the second season has passages where the pace falters. But when this series is focused on its core, it is devastating. In Peru, it was the most watched Turkish series in history. In Spain, it was the trigger for the Turkish series Fever. Number 1. Forbidden Love. There is no possible debate about this first place. Forbidden Love arrived in 2008 and was the series that opened the doors of the entire world to Turkish television. Before it, nobody outside neighboring countries paid attention to what was being produced in Istanbul. But beyond the historical impact, what makes this production deserve first place in family drama is the way it dissects an entire family from the inside. Adnan Ziagil's mansion on the Bosphorus is not just a beautiful setting, it is a trap. Bihter marries Adnan looking to escape the shadow of her mother Firdevs, a woman who destroyed her childhood with her infidelities. But by entering that house, she enters a world where appearances are everything, where the love she feels for Behlul, her husband's nephew, contaminates absolutely everything. What Baron Saat and Kıvanç Tatlıtuğ build on screen is a tension so real, so loaded with guilt and desire at the same time, that it becomes impossible to look away. It was broadcast in over 50 countries. In Pakistan, the finale was watched by 90 million people. Yes, there are episodes in the second season that lose their edge. Yes, there are secondary arcs that consume unnecessary time, but the ending of Forbidden Love is one of the most impactful moments in decades of dramatic television. It deserves number 1 without question. And that is all for today, my people. I hope this list brought back memories of those sleepless nights that only Turkish series know how to cause. If you have already watched any of these and want to tell me which one was the most impactful for you, I am reading the comments. And if you think something was missing that deserved to be here, let me know that too, because that is what we are here for. Do not forget your like on the video and share it with that friend who still does not know the world of Turkish family drama. See you in the next video. Take care.